Hi,
Hi, Vicki. Welcome. Thank you so
Ew.
much.
How are
Um,
you?
I am good. I'm really excited. And I thank my stars every single day for you being so radical and creating this amazing community. So welcome, Vicki.
Thank you.
So I have my first question for you is how did you dream up SheEO?
Uh, well, I have for many, many years, so I'm in my 50s. For almost all of my life, I have felt like we could do so much better than the way that we're organized in the world. And I've experimented a lot with creating environments for people to reach their potential, to get those dreams that exist inside a lot of us out of our bodies. And what are the places and the conditions that help us to all be successful. And I was in Prague right after the wall fell down, the Berlin Wall. And I was in this place where every single person was dreaming what they were going to do now that they were free. And it literally changed everything for me because one day people didn't think they were free. There was a tank in their country. There was a certain way that you could operate. And the next day, everybody flipped a switch. The tanks left, and they're like, "I'm free. Who am I going to be?" And it was such a dramatic experience that literally changed me at a DNA level. And I started to think a lot after that about what are the conditions that allow us to feel free, to feel like we can do anything. And so I have been dreaming about SheEO, some version of it, and experimenting about this for the last 30 years. And I feel like we collectively are creating the next version of the world. I feel like the planet at the moment, this model that we have for operating is dying away. It no longer works for us. The economy doesn't work for us. Our practices together as people isn't working for us. We need to reinvent ourselves. And the big challenge that we have in front of us is what can we imagine together? And you need to shed the way things are done. That's the hard part because we all walk in with our experience saying, this is how we are together. This is how we treat each other. Well, what if it wasn't? What if it was different? What if you're surrounded by radically generous women? And so I have built a muscle of dreaming with 30 years of practice. And we bring this into the center of SheEO to dream about what is it that we could co-create together. That's the opportunity here.
That is so beautiful. And your wild imagination has been a strong thread weaving us all together. How do we help support you and keep you strong so you can continue to lead us?
Well, I feel extremely honored to be part of this community. It's to have this idea sort of come through me into the world and then put it out into the world and then see what we all do with it together. That's really the opportunity. And so at SheEO, we talk about this community being very co-created. So for example, this event is completely organized by amazing women in Australia. And the content, the speakers, everything has been co-created. And each different environment we're in has different cultural norms, different practices, and we bring that uniqueness forward. So I'm learning all the time. We start with land acknowledgements because of Australia. Now everywhere around the world, even in places where it's not a thing that they've done, and we're encouraging everybody to really pay attention to the land that we're on. And so the transformative impact of everybody leading with their hearts from the place that they are from helps to create it. And so this feeds my soul every day. Every day on our team, we have these check-ins in the morning. And we're like, oh my God, did you hear what happened on the Australia call last night? Did you hear what happened on the call in New Zealand, in the US, in the UK? And so this constantly is feeding our team. And I feel like it feeds all of us to know increasingly as we sort of shed our scarcity feelings and that we don't have enough, to realize that together we really have everything that we need to create change. It's just a factor of our imagination.
It's beautiful and so true. And it's really interesting because sometimes when you're weaving, you have very much in your head on what you want the outcome to look like. And when you're working with natural fibre, that's not always the case. And I can remember being slapped over the back of the head by an auntie going, the fibre drives the form. It has its own story, and it needs to be able to express its story on its own terms. So as being part of SheEO, I always feel so supported, and my dreams are able to be seen, caught by others and entrusted to a whole community. How do you find that SheEO holds you in that same way, this beautiful rainbow web that you're creating with very strong waves that are just spreading out across the globe?
Wow, that's beautiful. I will keep that in my mind. I mean, I'm still a little bit back on your weaving metaphor, because I feel like that's what I'm doing all of the time. I'm weaving feedback. What am I noticing? What energy is coming our way? What are we feeling? And all of that gets woven into and iterated in the design and in our experiences together. And so I think part of this, I don't know what SheEO wants to be yet when it grows up, if it ever grows up. It's very much, it started as this idea of getting capital and into the hands of women who have great ideas to solve major challenges we're facing. And it's just rippled out from there to a place where we can learn about each other's history, where we can introduce ourselves, the parts of us that are invisible, so that we can come more fully as humans into relationship with one another, and not just bring a business little bit of ourselves, but bring our whole selves. And we hear this a lot through the whole community. At SheEO, I can bring everything about myself. You know, for entrepreneurs in the past, we're not allowed to talk about any of that stuff. You leave it at the door, suck it up, and just talk about your business. But here we talk about everything. And so this journey that we're on together, that is to transform systems and ourselves, is in flow. I'm not sure where it's going.
That is so true. And while it is in flow, it changes naturally with the environment, and it will adapt. And it's very much like, you know, our culture is so, we are still living because we're resilient and we're flexible and we can adapt. And one of the really beautiful things about with all the amazing women sending in their contribution to the weaving was the words that were sent through accompanying the parcels. And I'd love to read this to you. This made me cry when I received it. Hi, Felicity. Hope this gets to you in time and in one piece. This is a button from my Polish Scout uniform from when I was 8 years old. I send it in because it is something personal and meaningful. I associate it with my dad, who died in 2014, and I know he would be fascinated with SheEO and happy that I am involved. Because it is from my childhood, I also associate it with my daughter, 10 years old. I joined SheEO for her as much as myself. And finally, I weave a bit of my Polish heritage into SheEO. And that's from Margaret. And her button is there, sitting there beautifully with the SheEO. And that's what I love about this community. Everybody is acknowledged and honor for their story and their journey. And together we can really create something amazing together. And you don't just work on a financial level, you go so many levels deeper than that. So I gave you a crystal ball and you could have a sneak peek to see what SheEO, how she will evolve, what would you like to see in that vision?
So I'm going to get a little choked up here too. So I just really think everyone is perfect the way they are. We are all great. And if we just give each other a break to show up fully as we are, and have so many definitions of success, and really look much more broadly at all of the ways that we can all contribute to create a whole human. My dream would be that people honor themselves for what they're great at and know themselves, And so I think the only thing that we don't teach in school is, who are you? What motivates you? What excites you? What gets you up? It's the only thing we don't teach. And I think it's the only thing we need to teach. And so in our credo, which was read out a little bit earlier, we are all ages and stages, and we come from different experiences, and we own that greatness that we have at the moment. And maybe we have dreams to be bigger, that's fine, or different. But that belief that you can walk in and with the collective support of others around you, achieve whatever dream is inside you. I want to live in a world like that. I want to live in a world where I'm surrounded by people who have my back, who will tell me the truth, who will lift me up and support me and not try and change me. So the big challenge for all of us is to model that behavior and encourage others to come in and join this parade, because it's going to be so much fun. 1 million radically generous women walking the earth will transform all of our systems and structures.
Most definitely, I agree, and I can't wait to see that day. It's going to be awesome, and there will be parties held all across the world. And the thing is, you know, we are the majority of the population, but our current government structures are very much focused on making sure that we're still seen as a minority, and that's just women. And then when you look at the marginalised communities and culturally diverse communities, there always feels like there's that extra barrier. And SheEO is definitely at the forefront of breaking those barriers down and allowing us to actually have a voice. And for me, I think the most powerful thing about SheEO, apart from everything else, is that it's women investing in women. We know what we need to do. We just need everybody else to get out of our way and let us do what we need to do.
This is very true. I mean, I think it's very important for us to not put too much energy to try and fix the existing model. Like we're very much between worlds right now. The old systems are dying and they need to be palliative cared away with love and kindness. Bye-bye. Thank you for what you've done. We don't need this anymore. We need to have a place where we're more equal, where we take care of one another, where we realize we have enough. There's more than enough food, money, resources, everything, if we transform the way that we use them and work together. So I think there's a massive opportunity to dramatically transform that. And it starts with each one of us believing that we can be part of that. All of the stuff we're living in right now is made up for a different time and place. And we need to deconstruct a lot of those learnings that we've had about this is the only way to do things and start experimenting with new ways forward.
Oh, definitely. And it's amazing, the ventures that have been funded through SheEO across the globe, they're at that forefront of that deconstruct and being able to bring in, so I'm going to use one of my taglines, we're definitely together, we're weaving the new way forward.
Oh, I love it.
You know, and I'm really excited. It'll be really lovely in 2021, once everything settles with COVID, to have us all in the same physical space together, because this is beautiful and you can feel that collective energy pulsing across the airways. But I, for one, need to give you a great big physical hug. Hopefully that will happen next year.
I hope so too. It's one of my favorite places in the world is the Whitsundays. I would love to be up there. I've been there once before. But I want to go back to your point around the ventures that we're supporting and learning from, because they're literally creating the new future right now. We have 73 ventures. We're going to have almost 100 by Q1 in 2021. And they are going to ensure that there is no hunger, that we have vibrant cities, that we have access to healthcare for all, that we have good jobs and living wages, and new ways of doing business where we take care of people instead of making them work endlessly and having all kinds of mental health issues. Like, it's just, there are so many incredibly beautiful, innovative businesses that we're supporting. And they're really a beacon. I mean, every day I keep thinking, what are the patterns that we're noticing in these ventures? And what are they telling us about the world that we can create? And I have a lot of the cards behind me, you might be able to see on this panel. And it's really, if women were investing to create the economy, it would look so much different than what our current economy does. And what we're funding at SheEO is a small example of what that can look like at scale. So I'm very grateful for all the activators who have shown up to be part of this and to bring their friends along. And for those of you who are experiencing this SheEO event for the first time, we are here all together, believing that everyone has something to contribute, no matter what age you are, what experience you have. We have 11-year-olds and 96-year-olds. I mean, it's all ages and stages here, voting for the kind of future that we want to have, investing in the kind of future we want to have together with the spirit of radical generosity.
Well, and are we getting wound up? Are we running out of time, Maura? Sorry.
No, you're just doing beautifully. I'm just like kind of like the magical fairy arriving to say that we are really ready to start winding this up. But I wanted to maybe ask you both a question each. And that's the question. What's the beautiful question that you have, Vicki, for Felicity?
Ooh. Felicity, I want to know what delights and surprises you so far with SheEO.
I just feel like I have found my tribe. I now get to wear an invisible cape because SheEO is my superpower. And it keeps me strong. It keeps me grounded. And I get really excited because you never know who you're going to meet on our weekly calls. And I just love the friendship. It's just the most beautiful experience, and it just keeps growing. And I just feel so honoured and blessed to be on this journey, to meet so many amazing women who are open-hearted. So that's me.
Oh, thank you. And Felicity, my question for you is one to everyone can answer it in the chat. And I'd love you to give a question to all the people who are online right now. What's the question you'd most like to know the answer from them?
I would like to know, when you're on your journey and you feel those invisible brick walls coming up, what do you do to remain strong? And do you bypass it, climb over it, walk around it, or do you smash through?
Great. Well, I look forward to seeing those answers starting to arrive, and already they are. Breathing and trusting, that's all starting to come. So meditating, I think that'd be great. I'm looking forward to collating and curating all of those words as they come. Can we all just give a super big thank you to Vicki and Felicity for being in conversation with us